Hello, my name is Lila Shelby, and today I'll be interviewing Scott Duplichin, a recovering addict, on his experience with using drugs and how it has affected his life. Addiction is a disease that affects people all over the world. It is like a modern day plague, as so many have lost their lives due to its grasp. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, 19.7 million adults ages 12 and up suffered with a substance abuse disorder when a survey was taken in 2017. Luckily, the person I am interviewing today is a survivor. Scott has fought hard for his sobriety, and I'm going to ask him some questions about his experiences. Now, I'm going to introduce Scott and let him talk about his experience. Hi, Scott. How are you today?
How's it going?
So how old were you when you started using drugs or drinking?
At age 10.
At age 10, and did you drink or did you...
I only drank at that time.
And when did you start doing drugs?
12 years old. That's when I first started smoking weed.
And were you given drugs and alcohol by people older than you?
I was given sips of alcohol every now and then by my dad, yes.
And what about drugs?
No drugs.
Well, when you did drugs the first time, was it with your friends or by yourself?
Yeah. I got the first time I did smoked was 8th grade. So I got it from a friend, yes.
Okay. And when you got high for the first time, how did it make you feel?
I didn't get high for the first probably 6 times that I smoked. So I kind of gave up on it, and then one day I finally got high, and that's what started the down spiral of just wanting to feel that again.
When did things really start to get intense with your drug use?
In the 9th grade, in the 8th grade, at the end of the 8th grade, I started experimenting with Vicodin and prescription opiates and Xanax.
What lured you to that? Did you have feelings of anxiety or depression?
No, not anxiety or depression. I had a happy life. There was nothing wrong. I would have to say it's just I guess I wanted just hearing all these songs and influential artists rapping about how good prescription painkillers so on are. So I guess that's what really, when I found the script, that's what I instantly thought about, the feeling that they would always sing about.
So, what is the worst drug you say you were addicted to? The hardest thing you've ever done?
Synthetic marijuana, spice.
So talk to me about your addiction to spice. How did that affect you?
So I went to rehab in the 10th grade for prescription pills. Then when I got out, I came on a home pass, so I went to a year-long program, and at 10 months in, I got a visit to come home and hang out, and that's when I was introduced to the synthetic weed that wouldn't show up on a drug test, and, I smoked it, and I felt that same high that I always chased. So me knowing that it wouldn't show up in a drug test, that was the perfect drug coming out of rehab, and I can get high without anybody tracing it or noticing it.
And do you feel like spice ruined a lot of things for you? Do you feel like it had a lot of negative impacts?
Absolutely. It's put me in jail. It's put me in mental hospitals. It's put me in the hospital. It's gotten me robbed. It's gotten me relationships falling apart, and not only that, it felt like my brain was kind of deteriorating. I couldn't think. I would have panic attacks left and right. I wouldn't feel like I was even alive when I quit, and even when I was on it. But out of every drug I've done, that was the one that I couldn't shake. I've even done heroin, and I couldn't. That was easier for me to quit than the K2 spice.
And that's really interesting because, this K2 spice that's going around is sort of a newer drug, and they say heroin's one of the best drugs, and you're saying that spice was better?
Yeah, because well, let's clarify. It's the CBD going around in the area that you smoke out of the vape, and they've done studies on it. They rated people. It's called 5-fluoropinica, which is like a research chemical that's in the same classification as a synthetic, K2. So it's the same thing. It's just in a different form. So instead of smoking it, you vape it. And one of my buddies that crashed, and he didn't use drugs. He was only smoking that stuff. And they airlifted him to the hospital, and they found traces of fentanyl in his system. So a lot of older people actually smoke the stuff because they don't like taking pills, and it helps with the aches, the pains. That's why it's almost in a way similar to heroin.
And you think that's why the fentanyl makes it so addictive and it takes pain away? And that's a big reason why people use it.
And maybe fentanyl is not in it every time, but there was 13.8 grams of 5-fluoropinica in each bottle. And it numbs you. I mean, that's, it makes you not... I had to get my tonsils out, and my septum worked on, have surgery on, and I couldn't get any prescription pain meds. And that was the only thing I could smoke, and it would take the pain away. So,
And have you been off of spice?
I've been off of spice since October. I'm not sure about the date, but October, yes.
And has recovery been hard for you?
The last time I did it got me. I tried to quit, and I literally was begging my parents to bring me to the emergency room because I felt like I was dying. And I even previous times in the mental hospital, they had to hook me up to a heart monitor and give me Librium to slow my heart rate down, and just nothing good comes from it, and it's caused nothing but havoc in my life. And it's even harder because everybody nowadays is doing it, because all the offshore oil field, all those kind of workers that used to get high and smoke weed, that's the alternative now because it doesn't show up in a drug test. And I've seen 70, 80-year-old men and women go in to buy that same stuff that we were smoking.
So it's a lot more convenient. And what would you have to say for anybody that's smoking it now, that smokes spice?
You're going to either end up dead, in jail, or in a mental hospital, because it just makes you crazy. I mean, it literally made me feel like I wasn't alive. Like I was just here on Earth. Like it messed up with my brain, my thinking so much that it took months, since October, and I'm just starting. I mean, I still have some effects and stuff like that, that's normal, but I still have a hard time kind of getting back to normal. But everybody's saying, time, you stay off of it, it's going to get better.
Well, Scott, I'm glad that you are on the road to recovery, and thank you for doing this interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully people can learn from it and not smoke synthetic CBD.
Thank you.
No problem.